Your cat has an entire house to sleep in. So why do they squeeze into a few inches beside you? Most people assume it's warmth, and warmth does explain why they come to the bed. But it doesn't explain why. Once they're there, they still choose your side. That second choice is where the real story begins, because it has less to do with the mattress than with what your presence means to your cat. 1. Your cat checks for safety before falling asleep. Watch your cat the next time they jump onto the bed. They don't drop straight down and close their eyes. They pause. They look toward the door. They turn in a half circle and adjust their angle. Only then do their shoulders loosen and their eyes start to droop. It looks like they're being fussy. What they're actually doing is checking the room before they let themselves fall asleep. Sleep leaves any animal exposed. Reaction time drops. Awareness shrinks. And a cat that dozes off in the wrong place can't respond fast if something goes wrong. So your cat watches the spot first. Is it quiet? Does anything move through here at night? Does the room stay calm long enough to rest in? When the same bed gets chosen night after night, that slow settling is the answer to those questions. Your cat has decided this place holds still, so they don't have to keep watch. That's not nothing. You're not just handing them a mattress. You're handing them a spot calm enough that they can finally stop monitoring it and sleep. And here's what matters. A room can clear that check and still not explain why your cat lands on your side of it. The whole bed sits in the same calm room. So what is it about your side specifically? 2. Your cat chooses the side that smells like you. You see an unwashed pillowcase. Your cat is reading a map they've been building for weeks. Let's navigate partly through scent. Your pillow, your side of the blanket, the corner where you always sit. Those spots are soaked in your smell, layered there night after night. And here's the part that decides where your cat sleeps. A smell they already know doesn't need to be checked the way a new one does. Think about what happens when your cat hits an unfamiliar smell. Something has changed, so they stop and investigate, sniff it out, figure out what it means. The familiar smell asks nothing of them. Nothing new has happened here, so there's nothing to look into. When a cat is tired and hunting for somewhere to rest, that difference is the whole game. That's why your side of the bed tends to win. Your cat has met this smell so many times that it lets them settle instead of investigate. So when your cat strolls past a perfectly good pillow on the far side and heads straight for yours, they aren't turning that pillow down. They're going to the spot that lets them stop checking and start sleeping. But scent explains where they go. It doesn't explain when they show up. And if you've ever noticed your cat appearing in the bedroom before you even finish getting ready for bed, you've probably wondered, how do they know it's time? 3. Your cat learns your bedtime. Before you get there, you close your laptop. You get up, walk to the bathroom, turn on the light. You brush your teeth. You plug in your phone, and when you walk into the bedroom, your cat is already there, sitting on the bed, waiting. They didn't follow you. They got there first, and they did that because they've been reading your routine. Cats are extremely good at associative learning. When the same sequence happens every night, they start recognizing the pattern. Laptop closing predicts bathroom light. Bathroom light predicts toothbrush sounds. Each action becomes a cue for what comes next. Once your cat has learned that chain, they don't need to wait for the final step. They can predict it and move ahead of you. That's why your cat sometimes beats you to bed. They're not guessing. They're reading a schedule you didn't realize you were publishing. But knowing when to arrive is still only half the picture. Once they're settled in, why do they keep choosing the spot nearest to you? A lot of people think where your cat sleeps tells you your exact position on a love ranking. Others worry that if their cat stops sleeping with them, the relationship is falling apart. Both beliefs are wrong, and we're about to replace them with something that actually makes sense. 4. Once those conditions are met, sleeping near you becomes a choice. At this point, your cat has everything they need. The bed is the right temperature. The room is quiet. The environment is predictable. They could stretch out on the empty pillow across the bed, or curl into the open corner where there's room to spare, and be perfectly comfortable. Instead, they settle within a foot or two of you. Survival isn't what's driving this anymore. What's left is preference. Look at what your cat walks past to get to you. The cool, empty stretch of blanket. The pillow no one is using. The whole far side of the bed sitting open. Every one of those spots would do the job just as well. And your cat passes all of them to lie down where they can feel you close. When an animal has easier, roomier options and keeps choosing the one right next to you, that closeness is telling you something, and it doesn't have to look dramatic to count. Some cats sleep pressed against your chest. Others stop at the foot of the bed with one paw, just barely resting on your ankle. Bonding between cats doesn't always mean constant contact. It can be as quiet as sharing the same space when they could have had their own. That 10-pound lump in the corner who lifts their head every time you shift, still pick the side of the bed with you on it. That's the same choice the chest sleeper is making. But now the question people always ask. Does it matter where on the bed they sleep? Does sleeping on your chest mean more than sleeping at your feet? Is there a hierarchy? Here's what their sleeping spot does not mean. Your cat doesn't sleep on your chest because they love you more than the cat who sleeps at the foot of the bed. Where they land comes down to one thing, where that particular cat can actually sleep well. Cats can be fussy about sleep. You move in the night, your legs shift, you roll over, you pull the blanket, and every cat has its own limit for how much of that it can sleep through. So each one settles wherever it can stay comfortable next to you until morning. For one cat, that's tucked against your chest. For another, it's the foot of the bed. For a third, it's a cooler patch off toward the edge. None of those spots is the right one. Each is just the place that works for that cat. So what looks like a love ranking is really each cat finding the position it can hold all night. The cat at your feet isn't any less attached than the one draped across your chest. They simply have different ideas about where they can comfortably sleep, and the same cat's answer can change. A still night might bring them in close. A restless one might send them farther back. Same cat, same relationship, just a different read on where they can sleep tonight. Which brings us to the other thing people worry about. What does it mean when your cat stops sleeping with you entirely? 6. Why your cat leaves your bed in summer. In the winter, your cat buries themselves in the curve behind your knees. In the summer, you wake up and find them sprawled on the bathroom tile, as far from you as they can physically get. That's not rejection. That's thermoregulation. When the air temperature rises, your body stops being a heat source and starts being a heat liability. Your cat doesn't want to be near you because you're radiating warmth they don't need. So they leave. They find a cool surface. Tile, hardwood, the basement floor. And they stay there until the temperature drops again. This is not an emotional decision. Your cat has not reassessed the relationship. They've reassessed the bedroom and decided it's no longer the most comfortable place to sleep. A cat who loves you in winter and avoids you in summer isn't sending mixed signals. They're making a practical choice about their body temperature. When they're near you, it's because they've decided that being near you is the best option available. Here's the one thing worth holding on to. Where your cat sleeps will change. Against your chest one night, at your feet the next, out on the cool tile when summer comes. But underneath every one of those choices is the same quiet fact. You've become part of the place where your cat feels safe enough to stop paying attention. So when they curl up a little farther away than usual, don't read it as distance. They're still choosing you, just in the way that makes sense to a cat. Where does your cat usually sleep? And does that spot change with the season?